CISSP stands for Certified Information System Security Professional. It is a globally recognized certification in the field of information security offered by ISC Square, a leading nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing the cybersecurity profession. CISSP certification validates an individual's expertise, knowledge, and skills in designing, implementing, and managing effective cybersecurity programs. Hi, my name is Cio Rodriguez, and this is the first in a series of videos that we will cover about questions similar to what might show up in the CISSP certification. We will cover all the 8 domains of the CISSP with, again, very practical questions and explanations so that you get a good grasp of the kind of question that you should expect on the CISSP exam. So I hope that you follow me on this journey. If you are serious about getting this certification, this is a very difficult certification, but if you follow me, if you follow my instructions and you follow these questions, I can guarantee that you can pass this exam. And this exam, if you are listening to this, you probably know about this certification. This certification could open many doors. So this is going to be a free class, if you want to call it. The only thing that I ask of you, please, is that you give me a like in YouTube, in my channel, to motivate me to continue doing this kind of videos. So that like over there means a lot to me. So it's the only cost for you for this excellent review of those questions. So thank you, and I hope that you follow me on this exciting journey. Why is the CISSP important? The CISSP certification is important for several reasons. One, industry recognition. CISSP is one of the most respected and recognized certifications in the cybersecurity industry. Holding a CISSP certification demonstrates a high level of expertise and professionalism. Two, career advancement. CISSP certification can enhance career opportunities and open doors to high-level positions such as security manager, security consultant, security analyst, or chief information security officer, or CISO. 3. Global reach. CISSP is recognized internationally, making it valuable for professionals seeking opportunities in various countries and regions. 4. Comprehensive knowledge. The CISSP exam covers a wide range of security domains, ensuring that certified individuals have a broad understanding of various aspects of information security, from risk management to cryptography. 5. Best practices. The CISSP curriculum is aligned with industry best practices and standards, providing a solid foundation for designing and implementing effective security programs. 6. Network of professionals. CISSP certification connects individuals with a global community of cybersecurity experts and professionals, facilitating knowledge sharing and networking opportunities. 7. Employer confidence. Employers often value CISSP certified professionals for their ability to contribute to the security posture of an organization and effectively manage security risks. 8. Continuous learning. CISSP certification requires ongoing professional education to maintain the certification, ensuring that certified individuals stay up to date with the latest trends and development in cybersecurity. 9. Risk management. CISSP or CISSP certified professionals are equipped to assess and manage security risks, helping organizations protect their sensitive data and assets. And 10, regulatory compliance. Many industries require compliance with the specific cybersecurity standards and regulations. CISSP certified professionals possess the knowledge to navigate these requirements. In summary, CISSP is important because it provides professionals with a well-rounded and recognized credential that validates their expertise in information security. It enhances career prospects, contributes to organizational security, and helps address the growing demand for skilled cybersecurity professionals in today's digital landscape. This is the list of the 8 domains covered by the CISSP exam. Domain 1 is security and risk management, and there is 15% of the questions are on this domain, so this is a very heavy domain. Domain 2 is asset security, and there is 10% of the questions on that domain. Domain 3 is security architecture and engineering, 13%. Domain 4 is communication and network security, 13%. Domain 5, identity and access management, 13%. Security assessment and testing, 12%. Domain 7 is security operations, 13%. And domain 8 is software development security, and the 11% of the questions are on this domain. You have to pass all the domains in order to pass the certifications. So in this class, we will cover hundreds of questions from all these domains with detailed analysis and explanation. So I am very confident that if you take this class, you will pass the CISSP certification exam. Domain 1, security and risk management. This domain focuses on establishing the foundation for information security and risk management within an organization. We will start with 20 questions from domain 1, and then we will continue with 20 questions at a time, so that these training videos are not so long. Question number 1. Which business continuity document is a functional analysis that lists the critical and necessary business functions, the resource dependencies, and their level of criticality to the overall organization? The correct answer here is BIA, or Business Impact Analysis. A business impact analysis, or BIA, is a functional analysis that lists the critical and necessary business functions, their resource dependencies, and their level of criticality to the overall organization. Question number 3. Number 2 was actually was repeated. That's why I'm not doing it over here. So question number 3, which business continuity document considers all aspects that are affected by a disaster, including functions, systems, personnel, and facilities, and lists and prioritizes the services that are affected or actually needed? And the correct answer here is BCP, or the Business Continuity Plan, which considers all aspects that are affected by a disaster, including functions, systems, personnel, and facilities, and lists and prioritizes the services that are needed. It's important to differentiate between these documents. So some of these documents are kind of related and very similar, but they are very different. So for the purpose of the CISSP exam, it's important to understand the difference between a BIA, a contingency plan, a BCP, and a DRP. Question 4. What is the first step of business continuity? The first step of business continuity is to develop the continuity planning policy statement. All the other listed statements should be completed only after the continuity planning policy statement has been written. Question 5. In which phase of embedded device analysis are checksums utilized? The phases of embedded device analysis include the following activities. First is the collection. Here, the artifacts considered to be of evidentiary value, such as digital data in the form of disk drives, flash memory drives, or other forms of digital media, are identified and collected. Number 2 is the preservation. Focuses on preserving original artifacts in a way that is reliable, complete, accurate, and verifiable. Cryptographic hashing, checksums, and documentation are all key components of the preservation analysis, or the preservation phase, rather. Um, Step 3 is the analysis or filtering. And here investigators will attempt to filter out data which is determined not to contain any artifacts of evidentiary value. And 4, and finally, presentation, where potential artifacts of evidentiary value are presented normally, starting with the investigators extracting the artifacts from the original media, and then staging and organizing them on CD or DVD-ROM. Management has decided that your organization needs to implement an alternative site. Although it is willing to allocate some funds to provide an infrastructure for the site, it cannot allocate enough funds to place computers at the new facility. Which site should you implement? The correct answer here is a warm site. You should implement a warm site because this site does not contain computers but does contain telecommunications equipment. A cold site does not contain any computers or telecommunications equipment. It does contain wiring, heating and air, and raised flooring. It is much cheaper than a hot site. However, it takes much longer to recover. A warm site contains telecommunications equipment but no computers, and it's cheaper than a hot site but more expensive than a cold site. It takes longer to recover than a hot site but shorter to recover than a cold site. A hot site contains telecommunications and computers and is the most expensive alternative site. It takes the shortest amount of time to recover. A tertiary site provides an alternate in case that the hot site, the warm site, or the cold site is unavailable. What is the purpose of an account lockout policy? An account lockout policy ensures that an account can no longer be used after a certain number of unsuccessful login attempts. A password history policy configures the number of unique passwords that must be associated with the user account before an old password can be reused. A password age policy configures the maximum number of days that a password can be used before the user must change it. And a password length policy configures the fewest number of characters that can make up a password for a user account. Question number 8. Your organization needs an alternative facility that will enable the organization to recover as quickly as possible. Management is willing to allocate substantial monetary resources for this. Which site should you implement? The correct answer here is a hot site. We already went over the explanations and the differences between this different type of sites, so I'm not going to repeat that again. But just bear in mind that it's important that you understand the differences, of these different sites for disaster recovery. Question number 9. Which document is an agreement between a software vendor and a business customer, such as a company or organization, specifying terms of use? The correct answer here is a software license agreement. The software license agreement is an agreement between a software vendor and a business customer specifying terms of use, obviously for the license of the software. Question number 10. Which statement best describes the Internet Engineering Task Force, or IETF? The Internet Engineering Task Force, or ITF, is a group dedicated to making the internet a better place. Right? There are other organizations that it's important to know for the exam. For example, the Internet Architecture Board, or IAB, maintains an ethics-related statement concerning the use of the internet. The Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEEE, develops standards for new technologies, including wireless, and the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN, is responsible for the allocation of IP addresses and management of DNS. Question number 11. Which of the following is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end? The correct answer here is a process. A process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. Organizations will define individual processes and their relationship to one another. Now, a process and procedure are very close related, but a procedure is even more specific, right? A procedure is a mandatory, step-by-step process that has to be completed. But again, process is a little bit more general, if you want to call it. A procedure, it's even more specific, kind of documentation when you have to do certain stuff. But in either case, so these are two terms that are very tricky, and this kind of questions can be very confusing. So make sure that you understand exactly the difference between a process and a procedure. Question number 12. Which background check is the most important when hiring someone who will work with children? Criminal history is the most important when hiring someone who will work with children? Question 13. Which organizational role owns a system and must work with other users to ensure that data is secure? The system owner owns a system and must work with other users to ensure that data is secure. Question 14. Which of the following is a system-specific policy? A database server security policy is a system-specific policy because it covers a specific set of systems. All the other listed policies are issue-specific policies. Question 15. Which RFC is called Ethics and the Internet? RFC 1087 outlines concepts pertaining to what the IAB considers unethical and unacceptable. And we already talked about the IAB as one of those organizations that you should understand for the exam. Question 16. Which RAID methods does not provide fault tolerance? And the answer here is RAID 0. There are a lot level of RAIDs, but to be honest with you, a lot of these uh, are not used. So for the exam, I would concentrate obviously on RAID 0. You also need to understand RAID 1 and RAID 5. Anything else, I would just ignore that. I wouldn't even spend any time because nobody uses those, and that's guarantees not going to be in the exam. So the redundancy methods are defined as, so again, RAID 0, which is also called disk striping, in this method method writes the data across multiple drives, but although it improves performance, it does not provide fault tolerance. Now, this is important to know. RAID 1, which is also called disk mirroring, it uses two disks and writes a copy of the data to both disks, providing fault tolerance in the case of a single drive failure. I would not worry about any other here than, um, let's see, RAID 5 would be the other RAID that I would probably, okay, principal RAID 5, but enables to drive any continuous. So actually right here, so this is the one that I was looking for, RAID 5. So it requires at least 3 drives. The data is written across all drives like striping, and then parity information is also distributed across all the drives. So I would concentrate again on those 3 level of RAIDs. Question 17. Which background check is the most important when hiring someone who will drive a motor vehicle? And this is a very easy question. Of course, a driving record, right? A driving record background check is the most important when hiring someone who will drive a motor vehicle. Question 18. Which of the following is a component of business continuity, disaster recovery, and risk management, and is considered as Plan B? A contingency plan is sometimes referred to as Plan B because it can be also used as an alternative for action if expected results fail to materialize. Contingency planning is a component of business continuity, disaster recovery, and risk management. Many organizations have developed standards and guidelines for Performing business contingency planning. One of the most popular standards is the Special Publication SP 834 from NIST. According to NIST, or per NIST, SP 834, the steps are as follows. 1, develop a contingency planning policy. 2, conduct a business impact analysis, or BIA. 3, identify preventive controls. 4, create contingency strategies. 5, develop a contingency plan. 6, conduct contingency plan testing, training, and exercises. And 7, maintain the plan. Question 19. A loss of electricity is an example of which type of threat? And the correct answer here is system threats. So system threats are threats that exist not from the forces of nature, but from failures in systems that provide basic services such as electricity and utilities. Natural, so that would be so 1, 2. Natural threats or physical threats that must be addressed and mitigated that are caused by the forces of nature. And then external threats, threats from perimeter security or access to the building or room. So anything that's external. So obviously, this could be like a hacker, for example, that comes from the outside. That's an external threat. 4, internal threats, threats from those who may have access to the room or building. So an insider, right? Someone who works for the company, or like a vendor that you trust, or a contract, right? Anyone that's internal to the company. And finally, a man-made threats, which is anything created by man, right? So physical threats faced from malicious and careless humans. That's like my main threat. So anyway, so some of these threats can be very confusing. It's important that you distinguish between these threats to be able to answer correctly some questions for the CISSP. Which of the following protocols will populate the protocol field of the IP header with a value of 6? The correct answer is TCP. The listed protocols will populate the protocol field of the IP header with the following values: TCP 6, UDP 17, ICMP 1, IGMP 2, and L2TP 115. This is a very technical question, and it's something that, to be honest with you, you only need for the exam. So this is one of those questions that you have to memorize for an exam like this. All right, so this is the end of, as I said, of this section. We will continue next with the next set of questions. So as always, please remember to click like on my YouTube channel to motivate me to continue doing these free videos to prepare for your next certification. Thank you. See you then.